Hello, welcome back to the channel. It feels like it's been a minute since I have come on to YouTube to say hello and to say welcome and thank you to all the new subscribers. I'm so glad that you guys have joined this community, that you've found me. We definitely run a pretty mystical sort of divine feminine void space energy here on YouTube. A lot of the sort of hidden magic happens in this corner. So but I'm so glad that you guys are here and that you resonate with these messages, and I'm here to be in service. I'm a coach, I'm a healer, and I'm a twin flame. So it's all kind of merged into being this one big path that I've been called to serve on, serve in, serve for, serve, I don't know. English, it's Mercury retrograde. Definitely going to stumble over words, and we let that happen because we are not seeking perfection. I'm going to do a tarot reading for us today. Oftentimes, if you're new here, I'll just start going into the cards and see what messages Spirit wants to reveal. Like I won't have a structure. I won't ask specific questions. I'll just let the cards, let the energy kind of reveal itself. But today I was getting the guidance to ask some pretty specific questions and go deeply into both. Actually, I'm for sure going to focus on divine feminine, and then divine masculine if I have time, if I feel like calls, like like we should tune in there. It just feels like we're in an integration rest period. We just had the new moon in Libra early, depending on where you are in the world, early this morning, last night. And new moons are a time of setting intentions, obviously, I shouldn't say obviously, but setting your intentions, getting really clear on what you're calling in this new moon cycle. And it's a time to go inward. It's a time to rest. It's a time to be still. It's a feminine energy. The moon, disappears. It's not actually gone, but we can't see it. It's the dark moon. It's a time to pause, a time to reflect. And with all of the energy in the retrograde, and I'm not an astrologer, only a fan. But with all that energy, it's a really, really good time to look at what we need to be looking at within ourselves. And Libra is a deep energy of relationship, union, partnership, justice. So there's a lot of energy going on right now at this time. So I've been feeling this energy of integration for both masculine and feminine, where it's quiet, it's still, but there is a lot occurring that you may not even know is occurring within you at this time, where so many of the lessons, it's kind of a time to rest before movement, which is very appropriate to new moon. We can be sprung into action on the new moon. That it's not like, oh, you can't be in action mode on a new moon, but it's a different kind of action, and it comes from internal awareness and self-reflection. So I'm here. We're going to do a reading. I'm going to tune in with divine feminine first, because I'd love to I've just been feeling divine feminine really in her union energy, really in her own power. And masculine and feminine's energies feel really different right now. As I'm shuffling, I'll let you know that I always suggest, like if you're a divine masculine watching, or you identify more with masculine energy, to watch a divine feminine anytime I'm reading about divine feminine, that's your own divine feminine energy within. If you were able to catch my divine feminine initiation, divine masculine initiation videos, I go into how these are processes that we each go through, no matter our gender, no matter which polarity we are more naturally holding. We need to come into wholeness and union within ourselves on any spiritual journey, whether it's a twin flame journey, starseed journey, ascension, spiritual journey, awakening, whatever it is. This is something that spiritual seekers, it all happens within us, whether we know what's happening to us or not. It's a process that will occur. So when I do these readings, if I'm tuning into masculine energy, you can kind of use it as, this is my own masculine energy, if those messages resonate. If you are kind of watching these readings and curious, checking in on somebody in your life, you can use it that way too, but you're going to get the most kind of spiritual growth if you are able to see that higher perspective of the both and. Okay. So I really want to know where Divine Feminine is. I'm just going to ask Spirit what's going on with her right now at this new moon intersection. Completing a lot of cycles is what I'm hearing. Completing a lot of cycles, and these could be on energetic planes. Feminines do a lot of work in the unseen realms. Empress on my shuffle. Do a lot of work in the unseen realms. So you're shape-shifting, your energy transmuting, you're moving energy, and it may not be obvious. High Priestess, the mystery schools, the deep feminine initiation, the deep feminine mystery, the void space, the black moon, all of that is the feminine energy. So there's so much that occurs within feminine that others don't see, they just feel. It's like you can't even put words to it. It's almost like unspoken. And feminine is really fighting right now for her happiness, for her happily ever after. This is the Sun. We have the Seven of Wands. So I feel this commitment and resolve from feminine at this time, where things on the 3D level, on the surface level, the material world level, may not look like, oh, there's my happily ever after, there's my sun, there's my manifestations, they're all here. It may not look that way, but again, these things are happening in the unseen world. These are happening underneath the surface. So you can feel that there's a change. You can feel that there's new. You can feel it. You just don't see it yet. And that's why it can feel like you have to stay strong, like there's a fight for it. There's a Seven of Wands energy, determination. There is a setting your sights and not wavering on that trust and that faith. The Divine Feminine has to become a master at faith. Okay, Queen of Cups on the bottom of my deck. Let's see what's going on with the feminine. Okay. So there is, strength. That was an energy I was really feeling. So strength on the bottom of the deck. Okay, so I feel that Divine Feminine, and this message, these are general messages. Take them if they resonate. If they don't resonate, it's just not a message for you. I always try to tune in to the collective I'm reading for. The way that I know who I'm reading for is the more energy engagement you offer on this channel. So when you like, when you comment, when you just, in some way, there's an energy exchange, there's an equal balance of energy exchange that allows me to tune into your energy more, and then the messages get more specific to your situation. So that's just kind of something I've noticed as I've been doing these general readings on YouTube. But that being said, if it's not for you, it's not for you. But there is this inner battle, it feels, for this specific Divine Feminine that I'm reading for here, where she's having, anytime the strength is present, it means the devil was also there, right? It means that devil energy, that fear energy also was present because you're having to overcome something. And below that, we have the Five of Swords. This is the card of kind of self-sabotage. This is the card of defeat. This is the card of winning at all costs. So, and then we have Ace of Wands, Nine of Pentacles, and the Chariot. So the Chariot, this is victory. This is like guaranteed victory from the divine. Moving forward with this Ace of Wands energy. Nine of Pentacles is that abundance, sitting on your hill. It's really being able to sit on your throne as this Divine Feminine, give thanks and gratitude for the bounty, for the blessings, for the abundance that's all around you. Whether this is in your 3D world, your material world, your business, your career, your relationships, your friendships, your family dynamic, whatever it is. To be able to see it for what it is and be so grateful for how far you've come and everything that you've earned on this journey, because everything on this journey is hard earned. On any spiritual journey, it's hard earned. Nothing good. I'm going to rewrite that. Nothing comes super easily when we choose a spiritual path. Okay. So the things are hard won. And feminine, you're in this place. The divine is saying you're in this place that we want you to see and acknowledge and recognize this. Keep moving forward with our guidance, right? Everything we talked about in that Divine Feminine initiation is still applicable. So if you're being guided to sit still, that's still this Chariot energy. Your victory will come when you listen to your guidance. But we want you to be able to recognize and acknowledge all that you've learned, all that you've worked hard for. It's a lot. And it feels like this Divine Feminine may be having a hard time because there's that one thing that she really wants, that he or she really wants, not gender specific, that just hasn't come in yet. And it could be connected to this twin flame journey. It could just be connected to partnership, relationship, having a family, whatever it is that the divine feminine is desiring. But you are really connected. We have Ace of Wands here. So this is that like divine connection. This is the knowing. This is the trust. This is the faith that springs you into action. So the Ace of Wands is that masculine energy, but you don't hear these messages unless you're tuned into that feminine energy, which is your intuition, which is that faith, which is spirit. So we can miss a lot of the action we're actually meant to take if we're not listening. But this card being here and the story we have means that you're getting those messages. But when the Five of Swords lies right on top of that, that lets me know there's a little bit of self-sabotage. There could potentially be, why bother? Why even try? And also what I really get with the Five of Swords, because the Five of Swords is kind of like winning at all costs. It's a person who really wants to protect themselves, has probably been hurt before, and so they are very, very careful when it comes to being vulnerable, when it comes to trying again. And this is where that strength energy is really coming from, is the needing to conquer this energy and to trust in love again, to trust in yourself again, to release the self-sabotage, which is very, the energy, it's like, so I'll try and explain it in kind of a scenario. Is it somebody who is like, I don't need them. I don't need them. I don't need him. Oh yeah, he could come around. He could try and come around and apologize, but I don't need him. I'm moving on. Like, I've moved on. I don't even care. It's not even that important to me anymore. Like, yeah, I learned my lessons. Thanks so much, but I'm doing fine without you. I'm just going to move on. And that's all this like facade, right? That's like a false front. At least it is in the scenario I'm reading, because I'm going to tune into the energy of the cards that fell out. So, and, for a lot of these journeys, we're really asked to be vulnerable. We're asked to share our heart. We're asked to be honest. That's not easy. And that's not the normal thing out in the world, for lack of a better word, thing. That's not how most people operate. Most people, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to dating, they're holding their cards very close. They are not revealing too much. They are playing mind games, whether they know they are or not, whether you're conscious of it or not, it doesn't matter. You're still doing it. They are, just very careful, and it's both, it's both parties. It's not like one or the other. In this journey, divine feminine has to kind of learn to stop doing that. She can't do that with masculine. She has to be the energetic leader. She has to be the one to reveal first. She has to be the one to be vulnerable. And what tends to happen is she does, and masculine stays. He goes on his own kind of karmic journey of learning how to be vulnerable, because it's like his kryptonite. It's the hardest thing for a divine masculine energy. It's something that they really need to learn. So divine feminine, if you are not being that energetic leader and being vulnerable and being honest with your emotions and your feelings, you cannot even begin to expect that this other person is going to be doing that either. Okay, so, and this is something that I feel could be happening. Like, the story I'm getting is that there's been a long period of separation here for this divine feminine. And in that separation, she's oscillated between being like really honest with herself and really vulnerable, and then actually really feeling okay and feeling surrendered, feeling detached, feeling amazing, perhaps interacting with other people, other partners, other lovers, just enjoying her life and feeling like, things are looking up. And then all of a sudden she gets this like hit of emotion and it all comes rushing back. And then she's like, oh, there it is again. I thought I had escaped it. And that's this like self-sabotage. And it's not to say like on that journey and, to not meet what's coming to you, live your life in that present moment, really do that, but also just be very honest with yourself. And it kind of feels like this feminine knows, because we have this Ace of Wands, we have the Chariot. She knows something good is coming. She knows something is coming connected to this journey, but she's in the self-sabotage around, no, it's not. It's never going to come. And even if it does come, I don't even think I want it anymore. Like, I just don't even want this. Like, I've found other people to, give me what I want, to fulfill my needs. Like, this person never actually really fulfilled my needs, so I'm just moving on. But it's a divine connection. So whether divine masculine or divine feminine would ideally like to be with somebody else, it's never going to be the same. Like, it's just not going to be the same. So just don't pretend to yourself. Don't lie to yourself about that is what I'm getting, Divine Feminine. And the reason that energy is really coming up is because we have this Ace of Cups and this Ace of Pentacles here. So this is a new beginning. This is a new offer. This is unconditional love. This is that like cup running over of love. It's these energies together are very promising. They're very special. This like feels really good. But then I also get this Seven of Pentacles. And the Seven of Pentacles with the Four of Cups. So a lot have, Seven of Pentacles is kind of this time. So much time has passed that has gotten you in your doubt and gotten you in this feeling of like, maybe it's just never going to happen. And it's not that you're doubting yourself or this journey. It's that you're like, maybe he's just never going to figure it out. Maybe he or she is just never going to figure it out. I've figured it out. I have my contentment. I have my happiness. What am I even waiting for anymore? And on this journey, even that is the self-sabotage. Even that is a self-sabotage, because if this is resonating for you and this is part of your story, your lesson is not running to that the grass is greener on the other side. Thank you so much to teach me this lesson, journey, twin flame journey, union, and I'm going to move on now. Because guess what? You don't get to make those decisions. We do have freedom of choice. We have freedom of choice to self-sabotage, and we have freedom of choice to surrender to the divine. Self-sabotage is what would keep you in this energy of the Four of Cups. It didn't work out. A lot of time has passed. I'm going to move on. It's over. It's fine. It's fine, but it's over, right? When the divine is saying, no. It's so simple, actually. This is a very symmetrical reading so far. So it's like, this is the surrender to the divine. This is what the divine is promising you. You don't get to decide when and how it comes. You don't get to be in control of that. So this one can feel a little bit more challenging in that sense, like to wait for this. But then this is the self-sabotage. This is actually the pain. And a lot of people discover this on this journey. Masculine discovers this, feminine discovers this. We try and search for our twin in other people, whether we're conscious of it or not. We subconsciously are doing that. We try and search for that energy, that energetic frequency, that energetic alignment in other people. And we can pretend we're happy with another person for an extended period of time, depending on how awake we are. And what ends up happening is we always are feeling that there is some form of a lack. It's like a self-sabotage. There's some form of something missing. And, we sometimes have to learn that by experiencing it. Some of us don't have to experience that. And let me just do a caveat here about soulmates, because I know that this question can be such a hot topic question on TikTok, and I know people can get so offended, like this is trigger worthy. So, and I don't think what I'm going to say is triggering, but be prepared in case it is. So, okay, let's talk about soulmates and the twin flame story. So, a lot of twin flames meet, they are not in recognition and surrender that it's a twin flame journey. Divine masculine runs so far away, runs as far as he can possibly get him, right? Runs so far away, goes and dates somebody else. This is super, super painful for so many divine feminines because they feel like this person chose somebody else over them. It's this painful thing. It's a lesson that this masculine has to learn, that they're self-denying themselves, that they are rejecting themselves. They are not rejecting the feminine, they are rejecting themselves. And there's lessons over here that they still need to learn about karma, about pain, about, all of this, like all of their conditioning that they have, from past life, from this life, etc. And they have to learn that lesson, however long it takes them to learn it. Divine feminine in that process can also have that temptation, or I don't even want to call it a temptation. It just is what it is. Some of us have more that we need to go and learn from somebody else, right? Where this is not a lesson that we were contracted to learn from our twin. We were contracted to learn this from a karmic partner or somebody who steps in as kind of a soulmate, right? It's divine, it's already been decided, and it's kind of a thing when we just surrender to our journey. So that's why twin flames can kind of be with other people in those interims of that separation period and learning exactly what they need to learn. And it's all to get them to this ascension and union of self, which results in union of twin, whether that occurs in the 3D or not. And that, it gets pretty complicated. I probably won't go into that today. Just going to focus on the soulmate thing. So that's something that can happen. Then the other thing that can happen is a divine masculine and divine feminine who fight the connection really hard, where they kind of like, I call it like white knuckling the universe, where they're just like not in surrender. They are in their ego. They think that they can make the decisions and they can say, this is too hard. I don't want to do this. I don't like this. I don't like how this person makes me feel. They're a mirror. They're exposing all of my shit and I just want to project all of it onto them. It's all their fault. As soon as I met them, my life fell apart. I just need to get away from them, right? That's kind of the idea. And so then we tried to go and find somebody else, divine feminine, whoever, it doesn't matter. Either could be doing that. And that wasn't necessarily part of the path. Maybe spirit actually intended for you both to be in solitude, to learn to love yourself, to learn to partner yourself, to learn to really have that isolation moment of the ascension process where you're only in your own energy, you're only working through your own stuff, and you don't have the distraction of another person. So being with this other person can actually hold us back from our ascension. And it doesn't even have to be romantic, I also want to say, because a lot of masculines have karmic situations that are not necessarily romantic, but they are toxic family situations, toxic relationship with a mother, a father, a brother, a sister, an aunt, an uncle, whatever, toxic work situation, toxic boss, any form of relationship, and it could just be the relationship with themselves, toxic relationship with alcohol, with marijuana, you name it, right? Could be a karmic situation in that sense, but they have to walk away. They have to let go of that. And when they stay in that and they're really getting those messages, and I'm talking about divine feminine and divine masculine, you know, the message is you actually need to be alone right now. You actually need to cut this out of your life. You actually need to have some time to integrate and heal. But then you fight that and you ignore that and you stay in whatever this pattern is. Maybe divine feminine is dating. Maybe she gets into a relationship with someone else and she's telling herself it's fine and it's okay. But she's actually meant to be alone. That's where you can actually, people can be on this journey for years and years and years and years because they actually limit their growth at that point. They just stop it. It just goes into a holding pattern for a while. And then hopefully something happens, enough towers happen and you get yourself out of that space. Then there's the other option where it's somebody who has learned all of their lessons from other people, from the relationships they've been in. I will put myself in this camp. I've been in so many committed long-term partnership relationships. Relationships have just always been such a huge part of my life. I've always been in a monogamous, committed partnership, pretty much from all through high school, all on, just always. I've had time apart and time by myself, but I've always been in these very, very emotionally heavy, intense relationships. And so I got to this point on the journey where spirit was like, no, now is the time for you to be by yourself and to fall in love with yourself and to have this magical, wonderful courtship with yourself. And there were many times in the journey where I wanted to fight that. And I was like, no. And that was me going against what spirit actually wanted for me. And other people around me are like, I don't understand. Move the fuck on. You're amazing. This person's an idiot. Move on. And that's the societal kind of thing. It makes sense, right? It's yeah, this person was an idiot. They didn't see her worth. They're their loss. Move on, right? Makes sense. But that's where this journey can be so confusing, because for me, what spirit was actually telling me in the design was actually, no, you need to sit still. You need to learn to be in absolute love on your own, which feels so bizarre. And I know a lot of people that have that same guidance that I was getting fight that by going and being in relationships. And I'm not saying I was perfect. I definitely had my moments. But that's kind of the path of the soulmate. And then the last thing I will say about soulmates, if a divine masculine or a divine feminine chooses off the journey, they use their own free will to choose off the journey, and they say, you know what, I'm not going to do this. However that comes about, they just can't figure it out. That is when the divine will, especially if the other twin has done their work and the other twin is ready for partnership and they've learned these lessons, they've taken heart, they've really, really done the work, you will be sent a divine partner. It's like a different timeline. It's like a parallel timeline. And in this timeline, all the things you thought you wanted with your twin, that you were manifesting that you wanted with your twin, will come to fruition with a soulmate. Okay? But you don't get to decide when that time frame is up. Only the divine decides. I did a quick TikTok on this where it's basically, if it's been easy for you to meet somebody else, and it feels really good, like everything is aligned, that's probably your soulmate. That's probably, yes, your masculine or your feminine, whoever it is on the other end, chose off the journey. And that's on them. They're going to live with that karma the rest of their life into the next lives until they heal that. Like, truly, when a twin flame does turn away from this journey and they white knuckle the divine, it is not easy for them. They chose a path of severe pain, truly. And I don't say that to like, oh, feel better. It's so sad, but just know that is what occurs. And if you have made the decision to really stick to this journey and learn the lessons and do the hard thing over and over again when you feel like you're not seeing any sort of results or reward, then you will receive this beautiful expression and experience of divine union and love, because that is ultimately what this journey is about. It's not, some teachers teach that it's not even about this 3D connection. It's only about union of self. And I wouldn't agree. I wouldn't say yes or no to either of that. I would say for many, you are here to learn about divine union and relationship. You are meant to be an example to the community, to the society around you, of what true love can look like. True unconditional love can look like in a partnership, in a traditional partnership. If you want to get married and have kids and do those things, beautiful. If you don't, and you want to teach people how to be in an unconventional relationship, it doesn't matter. Like, twin flames are the guides and the leaders on this when they've done their work, when they get to that point. Okay. And even if your twin decides to choose off, and you're here in your mission was to teach others about relationships together and to be that example, you will have a soulmate that will come in and fulfill that. Right? And it won't be this lacking. It won't be this like always wishing. You'll always be connected to your twin. There'll always be this channel of love. But the twins that I've spoken to that have had this occur, they're not in a painful, the whichever one really did their work, usually the divine feminine, she's not in pain. She's not in longing. She's not like comparing her soulmate to her twin. Not at all. In fact, they usually exceed, at least on the 3D level, the twin. Because part of the issue with the twin was they just weren't on her level in the 3D. Their ego mind took over and was too strong. Their higher self is at her frequency and at her level, of course. But their 3D conditioning, the pain in their life, all that stuff was just too much. So they were actually presenting as kind of an asshole or a fuckwit or somebody that you don't want to be with. You know what I mean? Not a good partner, right? So, okay, that was such a little, sometimes they do that on these videos and then they end up being way longer than I want them to be. So hopefully that was that cleared up the whole soulmate thing. So you will know by your own intuition, by your own guidance, am I meant to go and learn in other relationships from somebody else? Amazing. Trust that. Surrender to that. Follow that. Allow that. Okay. You will also know if you're meant to not. If your story resonates with mine and it's similar and it's just easy to be in relationship, it feels good to be in relationship, it's just like a natural thing. You open your heart, you're vulnerable, whatever. You probably need to experience the other. And whatever's more uncomfortable, whatever annoys you more is probably the thing. Okay. Because what annoyed me more was not getting to share my life with somebody and not being able to just go and like do what I'm used to and what feels really good. So whatever's a little bit more uncomfortable is probably your story. If you guys have questions that, let me know. Okay, cool. So we went into this whole thing about divine feminine. I'm going to wrap this up because it did end up getting longer than I intended. Whoops, we have a card on the floor. Knight of Swords. So I didn't say it out loud, but I was kind of asking for divine feminine's outcome. Yeah, judgment. So moving away from the pretense, 8 of Cups, new beginning. Yeah, so divine feminine, release the facade. Even if it's hard and it's painful and it feels like your divine masculine has not met you there and they've been in facade and ego, you are meant to be the pillar of truth. You are meant to sit in this judgment energy of truth, of awareness, of higher self, of knowing. You are meant to sit there and be that example. And when you do that, you free this person. You free this other person to do the same. So Knight of Swords does speak to communication, truthful, honest communication. And I also see Divine Feminine walking away from the past. So perhaps some of you need to clean up some karmic stuff. Perhaps there's relationships in your life you need to walk away from. Anything that is keeping you in this front, anything that is keeping you in this Five of Swords energy of, oh, everything's fine, I'm doing great, and you may not be feeling that way. You may not be doing great deep down in the truth. But you do have this new beginning coming, and Spirit doesn't want you to give up on your 10 of Pentacles, because your 10 of Pentacles is promised to you, whether it's with your Divine Masculine or someone else. The anxiety and the fear are wanting to be released, and a new moon is a good time to do that. So set your intentions, release any sort of fear, anxiety, worry around any of this, and go out and enjoy and live your life. Be present. Focus on you. Find something that is pure enjoyment and bliss. I know you can do it. Okay, didn't get to Divine Masculine, but I will be back at another date to perhaps check into his energy again if I'm called. But that's all for now. Thank you so much for being here. I'm sending you guys a lot of love.